Since Season 23 is predicted to have Stasis be a key part to the artifact, I think it's best that we go over 3 of my favourite Stasis builds, one for each class. For the Hunter, we have Renewal Harvest. This build uses Renewal Grasps as its basis, as it gives a massive bonus to using Dust Field Grenades, making them larger and having allies within it take less damage, and enemies inside deal less too. Then, for the subclass itself, I run Gambler's Dodge to give me shurikens much quicker, and of course Dust Field Grenades, since that's the baseline for the whole build. For aspects, I run Grim Harvest, as anything in the Dust Field Grenade will be slowed or frozen, so anything killed within or with the grenade will create stasis shards. We also run Touch of Winter, as it increases the size of a grenade and creates a stasis crystal. For fragments, Whisper of Conduction attracts all of the stasis shards to us, so we don't need to go running looking for them. Then, Whisper of Rhyme will make all of the shards that we collect form an overshield around us, giving us more survivability. Whisper of Rending means that we can shatter our dust fields immediately with our primary. Then, Whisper of Shards will increase our grenade recharge when we do shatter them. And finally, Whisper of Fissures will actually increase the size of the explosion from bursting a stasis crystal. For armor mods, the only ones that really matter for the build are Firepower, Grenade Kickstart, and Impact Induction to generate more grenade energy. Besides those, it's carte blanche to run whatever mods you like, save for weapons really, but I personally use a Horror Story with Demo Frenzy to give more grenade energy, a Techine Force with Reconstruction Collective Action so it gets a boosted damage whenever I collect Stasis Shards, and then Cold Comfort with Envious Assassin and Bait & Switch, just because it's my favourite rocket launcher to be honest. I've been running this build for quite a while, even if Stasis hasn't been great for that time, and I absolutely love it. The uptime on my grenades is insane, and I'd even compare this to young Ahamkara before its nerf, but for Stasis. Titan, Cryoclasm Z. So, this build uses Hoarfrost Z to generate more stasis crystals, but I'll admit that Armamentarium also works for this, if not sometimes better. I just prefer how Hoarfrost looks and functions over it. Then, for the subclass itself, you'll want to run Glacier Grenades. You'll see why in a second. For aspects, you'll want to use Cryoclasm, so you can slide into stasis crystals to shatter them, and then Tectonic Harvest to generate stasis crystals. Essentially, this build is all about creating as many crystals as you can to shatter them all at once by sliding into them. For fragments, you want Whisper of Fissures to increase the crystal shatter size, Whisper of Shards to boost your grenade recharge rate when you shatter the crystals, Whisper of Rhyme so that your shards grant an overshield, and then Whisper of Conduction so that shards track to you, much like the Hunter build. When it comes to armor mods, it really doesn't matter what you run, just like the Hunter build. Grenade boosting mods help, but otherwise pick whatever mods are best for your playstyle. And then for weapons, I strongly recommend Wicked Implement, since it can slow targets, create crystals with its catalyst, and overflow its own mag for collecting shards. It's a great primary for most stasis builds, but here I think it really excels, since you'll be shattering plenty of crystals and collecting plenty of shards. Then, the other 2 weapons come down to your personal choice, though anything with demo does help. Warlock, Bleak Watcher. Everyone knows about this build by now, but by no means does it mean it's bad. It's actually an S tier build in the game still. Here, we use Osmiomancy Gloves to give us an additional Cold Snap Grenade, then for the subclass we obviously run Cold Snap Grenade, then Bleak Watcher, to convert our grenade into a turret that slows targets it shoots, so with Osmiomancy we actually can summon 2 turrets. Then, we also want to run Ice Flare Bolts to freeze additional targets after shattering a frozen target. For fragments we want to run Fissures to increase the burst size of frozen targets, Conduction to have shards tracked to us, Torment to gain grenade energy whenever we take damage, and then Rhyme, as always, to grant overshield. I also recommend running Aga's Scepter to overwrite the Warlock Stasis Super, as it's notoriously bad in PvE. I also recommend anything that boosts grenade generation, like Demo or Kickstart on your gloves. I adore this build. It's actually the build that made me a Warlock main for a whole season back during Witch Queen. I strongly recommend this one over most other builds in the game. Hopefully, with the upcoming changes, these builds stay as strong as they are now. Maybe other builds will actually be stronger or more fun. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I hope you enjoyed these builds too.